Hello and welcome to my first attempt at doing a tutorial on Savage Worlds version of Fantasy Grounds. This tutorial is not intended to replace the excellent ones completed by Zorn. This is just to show some unique features of the Savage Worlds rule set. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is some of the shortcuts and tips we can do when creating PCs or pre-generated characters if you're setting up the PCs as a GM, so let's see how we get on. So I'm going to go to the PCs tab, open up an empty user, and there you've got the standard Savage Worlds character sheet. Okay. I've downloaded off the web the pre-generated Wizards and Warriors characters from the Pinnacle website, and I'm just going to fill out one of the characters included with that as a demo of some of the nice features of the Savage Worlds rule set. So, okay, the character I'm going to do is Meluna Lannis. She appears to be a mage, so I'll just type in her name, nice and simple there. Now one of the first things you'll notice is there's a shortcut button here under settings. If you click on that, you can open up setting mods. Certain games have sanity or glory in case of Hellfrost and things like that. This is just somewhere where you can add that setting in for your character and track it. But for the standard Wizards and Warriors and Fantasy, we don't need that one. Obviously she's a human, and according to rank she's seasoned with 25 experience points. Okay, now first things first, the stats. Now you can pick up the dice and drop them on the dice stats, or you can just use the middle mouse wheel to set the stats to whatever's required. So that's the vigor done. Okay. Now we'll get on to the first of the useful little features. If we move to the skills tab, you can just create a skill and set the dice to it. And type it in, no problem at all. You can do that for all of them. But instead of just manually entering the data, what we can do instead is to use the drag and drop functionality to allow us to have quick links built into the edges and feats and skills, which during play can make life much easier. So we'll go to the library, we'll go to Player's Guide, we'll go to Skill Listing. Now there's all the default skills built in. Okay, now what you can now do is you can now drag the skill and drop it on. It automatically populates it. The added advantage this has is it gives you a little shortcut, so if for some reason when you're playing the game you can't remember what a skill does, if you click on the button it adds in, because it's added the link, it will open up to the actual original entry. So what I'll do is I'll go on and add all the rest of these skills in, and then we'll resume. Right, so as you can see now I've added all the skills in. Now the unique skill for certain spellcasting classes like spellcasting, faith or psionics, they're not in the entry, so there I had to create one manually. This is a perfect opportunity now to show the auto dice rolling built in. So if this mage wants to cast a spell, all you have to do is just double click the spell casting dice, and you can see there it's rolled the 1 and it's told us it was a natural 1. However, this character is a wild card, so what you really want to do is have the wild dice rolled as well. Now at the moment I've just rolled a d8. Now I can manually pick up a d6 and roll it, and that would do the wild dice, but there's a much better way. If we go to the tools tab, now this is in the GM view, the player view is slightly simpler. You have the smiling jack and the wild dice. Now if you just click on it, it rolls you a wild dice, but you can turn the toggle on. Now once this turned the toggle on, if we just put the dice back and we roll the dice again, now you'll see we'll automatically roll the spell wild die and the spell casting. This comes into its own when you're casting, for example, multiple bolts, if you're a mage, or if you're firing a rapid fire weapon like a machine gun using the shooting skill. What you can do is you can drag the dice off, so as you can see at the moment I've got the d8 for the skill and the wild die, and because I want to cast 2 bolts or 3 bolts or fire 2 shots or 3 shots, if I, while holding down the left mouse button, press the right mouse button twice more, you now see I've got 3 d8 and 1 d6, and when I roll those it will roll the 3 8-sided dice. Now you can see one of the d8s exploded, it automatically rolled the extra dice. So therefore you can see now I would take the best 3, so you get the 4, the 4 and the 9, and off we go. Now sometimes, mostly for tables and running and necessarily want dice to explode. If you just want to roll a normal dice that won't explode, you can just pick it up and drop it. As you can see there, that was a bit of luck. I've rolled a 6 and it just comes up as 6. It won't auto explode because I didn't roll it from the character sheet where the extra functionality's obviously been programmed in. Okay, edges and hindrances are exactly the same. You can right mouse button, type in the edge for example, and everything's fine. But again, as before, it does support the dragging and dropping, so in this case I can just drag down the arcane background with the added advantage again. It adds a shortcut link. Once again, the hindrances work the same way. If we go to libraries and bring up the hindrances tab, she's curious, so I'll find curious, I can just drag it in, drop it in. Now, Death Wish, this character apparently has Death Wish. It looks like she's the typical daughter who's going to turn against her evil father, so we'll drop in Death Wish. At the moment it just says Death Wish Minor, but Death Wish usually you have to set a goal, so what you can do here is just manually add the description spelling mistake there. Manually add the description of what your aim is. It doesn't affect the link or anything. Likewise over here for the arcane background, you can change it from just saying arcane background to saying arcane background spells, for example. But of course, if you could be a priest, then of course you'd be adding faith. Okay, well I'll just finish populating this. Right, that's the rest of her edges filled out. Now, if we move down the list, arcane backgrounds, that's straightforward. Now attractive. Now if we look at the description, attractive, and anyone who plays Savage Worlds knows that attractive gives you a charisma +2. So this is not automatically updated on the character sheet, so obviously we'll just go back to the main tab. It shows you the base charisma there, so we'll just add it up to 2. Simple as that. Again, this is not charisma's not automatically added to the skills when the dice is rolled. Therefore you would do that yourself. Right, now having a +2 charisma means you get a +2 bonus added to any persuasion and streetwise rolls. Okay, now this character doesn't have persuasion, however she does have the streetwise skill. So if we right mouse button over the dice there, you tick the bonus option. This brings up a modifier box. It gives us the skill name, so we'll put in there a +2 bonus, and we can put in there that it's due to being attractive. It does help if you can spell attractive though. Attractive. There we go. Now, we could just close that and off we go. However, this character also has the investigator modifier. Now, the investigator modifier gives you a +2 bonus to investigation and streetwise. So if we just move the character sheet out of the way, so we know we have to add in another modifier. So we'll put this one down as investigator and give a +2 to that. Then we can close that. Now if I minimise these windows so we can see what we're doing, if we now make a streetwise roll, you can see that the box has been greyed. This shows there's dice modifiers. So if we roll it now, we see we rolled 2 dice. Obviously the wild dice was higher, so there we are. We get a 5 + 4, and it even lists the 2 modifiers built in for the streetwise. The investigator also does the same to investigation, I believe. So I'll do the same for investigation. Open up the plus modifier box, put a +2 in, investigator. Job done. Okay, and then when obviously we roll those, we get the +2 modifier again. Okay, PowerPoints. These are just straightforward keeping track of things, and we'll just put 20 in there. And obviously, as the players cast, they'll just move them up. If we're on the mini sheet, you can see that PowerPoints are shown there. Okay, right. And that concludes part 1. In part 2, we shall complete the character sheet and show off the additional functionality.